Well, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. For me, it's April 5th. Good morning, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining. For those of you that are new to my weekly Tuesday live stream, I am Angela. I'm a full time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my YouTube channel is dedicated to those of you that are just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and I answer your questions. So, and I try to do these every week, like I mentioned, because I think if you have questions, something comes up in the middle of the week. I know you can't always wait a week for a question to be answered, but I guess this is better than nothing. I would be happy for it. I had Anthony Pico was doing this every Friday a while back, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it because I got to interact with him and all of the other VOs that were in the chat, and I always thought it was very, very helpful. So I'm going to try to do the same thing for you guys. So those of you that are returning, you know that we have a poll that I usually have here on my live, and today's poll is, which do you use to monitor or edit your recordings? Do you use headphones only? Or do you use monitors or speakers only? Or do you use both? And I think for me, I have both. I think I use the headphones more often because I can hear more, especially for audiobooks. You really want to be able to hear if there's anything that sounds off or something that shouldn't be there. The monitors would be useful for something that's going to be broadcast across speakers more often than using headphones to listen to. That way you can hear what your final product is going to sound like over the same types of speakers, right? Because it sort of changes the sound of what you're doing. So having both, I think, is beneficial for, a couple different reasons. But everybody's got their own opinion on it. Do what you want to do, but that's my personal opinion. Looks like we got 14 votes already. 50%, wow, even split. 50% of you say headphones only, and 50% say both headphones and monitors or speakers, whichever way you want to describe them. That's awesome. That's awesome. I kind of had a feeling that's how it would go, to be honest, but I'd like to know. I'd like to know your opinion. All right. I'm going to actually hop over and answer a couple of questions that were sent to me last week before I hop over to the chat because there were a couple of really good questions in here. Andy B said, the noise floor. How do you accomplish it? Set your levels or cease talking and see what the meters show. Can it be quieter? Also, have NS1 but not installed. Is that the only plugin I can't live without? If you have NS1, that's great. I would definitely install it and try it. But as far as determining what your noise floor is, if you're recording a track and you can actually listen to just the room tone, if you don't say anything and just watch your volume meter on just that section of room tone, you can actually see where your noise floor is at. And you can adjust that by using NS1. Excuse me, if you have Adobe Audition, there's a denoise, there's a noise reduction process in Adobe Audition that you can use to get rid of like a really loud, low-lying hum. It can be louder, it can be quieter. Everyone's space is going to be different depending on what's going on in your room, how much self-noise your microphone has, if you're sitting close to your refrigerator, air conditioner, that sort of thing. So it might be different for everybody. Some people naturally have a very low noise floor, and I'm very envious of those people because noise floor is just one of the things that we have to deal with as a voice actor. But it can be, controlled depending on the effects and the DAW that you have, or if you can treat your space or move away from things that make noise. It can be controlled. It might take a little bit of trial and error, but you can definitely do it. And then he also asks on the same video, does it help when recording meditation if you actually do meditate? Maybe I should try it. It does definitely help if you're going to try to record meditation, to do it yourself. Not only because it's beneficial and it helps to kind of reset you and clear your mind a little bit, and center your focus and all those good things. But it'll also get you accustomed to the flow of meditations, because meditations, of course, are slower, a little bit more, intimate sounding, a little breathier sometimes. You have lots of long pauses, nice music, So if you do meditate yourself, it will definitely help you to record or create meditations yourself, for sure. Sarah Klein asked a few days ago, I have always wanted to do this. I am actually getting ready to submit an audition. Sadly, I'm not sure what the best way to land a job would be. I lost my teeth 10 years ago in an accident, and because my insurance sucks, the dentures I couldn't wear because they made my gums bleed. They did what they did. My diction sounds good according to my husband, but I have a feeling it's a white lie. Yeah, it's tough because, I think we are we are our toughest critics, right? But I think, again, as voice actors, we represent everyone in the world. I think what you may have is a completely different sound, not necessarily bad than most other people. So I would say for you to know for sure, if you're part of a voiceover Facebook group, submit your demo or submit a sample of something that you've recorded and produced, and ask your group for feedback. I think that's the best way to go because, sometimes our spouses are going to tell us that we don't look fat in that dress, but we actually feel really, you know what I mean? Sometimes they might tell us a little bit of something that maybe we want to hear, not necessarily the truth. So I totally get that. So that's what I would do. I would just post a sample in a voiceover Facebook group and ask for feedback. M. Neem Anwar a few days ago said, "Hi, ma'am. Which mic you used in this video and sound setting? Your voice looks beautiful like you." Oh, well, thank you. My microphone has been the same for the last couple of years, actually. I don't think that video, that video I had my Sennheiser. This is the Sennheiser Mke 416. It's a shotgun mic. I'm very, very happy with it. Always been happy with it. And the sound settings, again, they're going to be different for everybody. They're going to be different for everybody's different space and setup, and you just really have to play with it and, see what sounds better for you and your space. But just keep in mind that a shotgun mic is going to, excuse me, the pickup pattern on it is directly in front of it. So, you want it directly in front of you, unlike some other microphones where they have a larger pickup pattern, almost like a heart shape, where you can kind of move around a little bit more and it'll pick it up. But the shotgun mic will pick up exactly what's in front of it. I chose this mic because it reduces the amount of noise that's around my studio, and it only will pick up what I'm saying directly in front of it. So it helps to reduce the ambient noise in the room. So that's why I chose this one. And because I think it sounds good with my voice. I think they tend to add a little bit of richness to deeper voices, and my voice is a little bit deeper. So I think it works for me well. But thank you. Nicole Farquharson? I'm sorry if I butchered that. Hi, Angela. While you submit your audio to ACX, how do you ensure that the audio measures between negative 23 dB and negative 18 dB RMS and have negative 3 dB peak values and have a maximum negative 60 dB noise floor on your audio editing software? That just comes with trial and error. If you've watched any of my videos, I've actually gone through how to do this on a few of my videos here on my channel. One specifically for noise floor and one, I believe, for RMS. ACX has specific standards, as you know, and again, everybody's space is different. We all have different microphones, we all have different mic placement, studio setups, equipment, everything is just different. So, but if you watch those videos in particular here on my channel, that will help you, maybe give you a couple of tips or tricks or something that maybe might help you reach those standards for your recordings as well. But just don't be too hard on yourself. Everybody's space is different. Might take you a little, try this and, test it, go back and tweak some settings, try it again, test it. But don't be hard on yourself. You will get there. It will take a little bit of time and practice to get there. Henry Crete says, hi, great class on starting to record and correctly format for ACX and Adobe. 3 questions for clarification. If the dB is incorrect, how do I change it? How were you pasting the room tone so quickly in the edits? Do you have a shortcut? How do we correct the noise floor amplitude and the RMS amplitude? Thank you. Oh, okay. So we have quite a few questions that are roughly the same regarding room tone, RMS. I do have a couple of videos here on my channel that explain these because I could now, but that would really just eat up most of our hour here. But again, it just depends on your space, your setup, your DAW. There's a lot of variables that go into that. There isn't just an easy button to hit, unfortunately. So I would say go to my channel and watch the Noise Floor Explained video and the other video about editing in Adobe Audition. And I think I go over RMS in one of those too for specifically audiobooks. I've got a few on specifically audiobooks that will help you to answer your questions regarding those. Okay, just a couple more here. Kevin Thurber says, hi, Angela. I love your videos. Thank you. I was wondering if you'd ever discussed audio normalization versus adjusting loudness in Adobe Audition specifically, maybe. Normalization is a fairly simple thing, adjusting the volume for the whole clip selected, but loudness is much more sophisticated and more useful, I think, when trying to achieve a specific RMS. Do you have any thoughts you'd share on the subjects? Normalization, I think, for me is just a setting to increase or to normalize the volume of the entire file. Loudness is, in my mind, almost the same thing. I don't really use any of the loudness settings. I think I did in the very beginning, and I didn't really have great results from it. But again, everybody's processes are different. If adjusting the loudness is easier for you to achieve the RMS, then do it. But normalization for me is the way that I've always done it, and I'm kind of programmed that way. I don't know if loudness will actually work. I think I have heard a couple people that use the loudness settings instead of normalization, but you don't want to just not do normalization because that is one of the things that will definitely, for lack of using normalize again, but it makes everything a little bit more uniform to a specific loudness, to a specific volume that you will need to achieve anyway for ACX. So I'm not really sure if loudness would work in that respect. I've never got it to work for me, but if it works for you, then that's great. Maybe you can share with us how you get it to work for you. It's fabulous. Okay, and then I just have a few other people, Peter McNutty, Zada Merlos, and John Davidson, who said, thank you very much. Your videos are helpful. So thank you guys for watching those, and I appreciate everybody. Holy Moses, we have lots of people in the chat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Holy Moses. Okay, let's just hop over to I'm sorry if I'm going really super fast. I want to make sure that I get all of these in before the hour is up. We have 22 votes on our poll. We have a 50% headphones only, 5% monitors or speakers only, and 45% headphones and monitors. That's interesting. Monitors or speakers only, 5% of you do. That's interesting. But I guess you could. I mean, I think it would depend on what kind of voiceovers you do. All right, well, let's hop over to the chat and see how everybody's doing today. Robert Palmore is here. Good morning. Good morning. The Simpleton Review. Hello. Kirk is here. Hi, Kirk. Popping in to say howdy. Can't stay. Got to finish up the Amish. Have a great session. Thank you, Kirk, for popping in. Good luck on your read today. Can't wait to hear more about it on Thursday. Sarah Wright is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for joining. Junior 17 is here. Hello. Good morning. At Home with Tom and Rhonda Howard. Hello. Terrell, Texas here. Well, good morning from Texas. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping on in today. Junior 17 says, can you tell me how to find opportunities on Instagram, TikTok, etc.? I think social media is going to be one of the best places for us as voice actors or freelancers, business owners, whatever, to find business. Because I think from my own personal opinion, that's where all the eyeballs are. That's where everybody's going. That's where I spend a lot of my free time, is just scrolling through social media and just seeing what everybody else is up to and what everybody's doing. TikTok specifically, I think, is growing by leaps and bounds. And that, of course, if you're unfamiliar with TikTok, it's just, short videos of people doing silly things, stuff like that. But for voice actors, I think that TikTok is a great opportunity for us to share with other people maybe some behind the scenes footage of us narrating an audiobook or recording a commercial. There's a lot of other voice actors on there that offer duet content. Like there's the guy that says, and I'm sorry if you're watching and I don't remember your name, but he says, "Can you be a voice actor?" And then he puts a screen or a script on the screen, and then you duet it, meaning you're side by side with this guy on the screen, and then you read the scripts. Believe it or not, the algorithm will actually customize the content that they show you on your For You page based on what you like, what you watch, and how much of what you watch that you watch, right? Like the length of watch time and what you like and what you interact with. So even if you are an author and you're looking at audiobook content or book content, some of your stuff might be shown to those authors too, because you share the same sort of likes and things that you watch. The same thing with Instagram and some of the other social media platforms too, by use of hashtag and all of that stuff. So I think social media is a great place to be on. Your content doesn't necessarily need to be voiceover, hey, hire me, right? You want organic growth. You want to target the people that you think that are going to hire you. Production companies, publishers. If you're looking for video games, you want to do video game sort of content, stuff that applies to what you want to do, and then just get out there and start creating content. But social media is going to be huge for marketing any small business, I think. Let's see. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Ron Rio is here. Good morning, Ron. Glad you could make it. Kuzuni Media says, "Hello, Angela. Thanks for your big effort to answer our question. I am an Arabic voiceover, and I'll be thankful if you could tell me tips about synchronization of voice with video in Adobe Audition." I actually have a video on this. This is where, oh God, I'm not sure of the name of it, but I think it's something along those lines where you can sync or dub a voiceover in Adobe Audition. If you have the video that you're dubbing to, you can load that into the multi-track in Adobe Audition and then record a voiceover in a separate track below it. And then you can move those pieces around, the pieces of dialogue, to match the video. So it's pretty cool, and you can do it in Adobe Audition for sure. JCCAOL is here. Hello, good morning. Thanks for coming in. Have you done any direct marketing in order to get work instead of auditioning? After I complete a demo, I am going to try to reach out to audiobook publishers and see if I can get any work. I have not done any direct marketing. I haven't. I need to at some point in the future, but I'm pretty steadily busy as it is right now. But I know of some people that do email marketing, cold calling. I still think social media is a great way to go. You can make connections on LinkedIn and find companies that way as well. I don't know about postcard marketing. I don't know if that still works, but that's something that, you might want to keep in mind. But I think just staying, maybe not top of mind. Well, yeah, top of mind. But social media is where we go for distraction, and that's just about everybody. And some businesses do too. The key people that you're trying to reach are also on social media to make connections, to network, and for distraction also. So I think that is a great place to be seen, and to be seen often. Lost my place. JCCAOL says, and once again, good morning from the Midwest. Good morning. Sarah Wright says, "I am just starting VO. Well, welcome to the family. As in starting testing out my mic yesterday, I think my voice sounds higher, thinner than I realized. How can I tell if it's too high for VO and fix it?" Sarah, if you are in a Facebook group, a VO Facebook group, and if you're not, I highly recommend that you do that. There are lots of them. There are tons of them. And the voiceover community is very, very welcoming and very, very warm and helpful. And they'll, if it's a good group, they'll put their arms around you and help you in any way that you need. And if you want to submit a sample to a Facebook group and ask for their feedback, I think that is the best way to go. Most of them will give you constructive feedback or criticism. Not necessarily mean if they're going to be mean to you and tell you that you shouldn't be in VO or anything like that. That's not a group that you want to be in. You want to be in a group that will put their arms around you and tell you maybe some things that you can do to fix it if it is a problem. But again, we represent the world. Every voice is welcome. Every voice is needed. So even if you think that you're too high, maybe you'd be great for character voices. I mean, imagine some of the ladies that do character voices for all of the, bunch of cartoons and anime that I can't even rattle off right now, but there's a need for every voice, so don't count yourself out so quickly. But post a demo of yourself to a Facebook group and ask them for feedback and see what they think. Scoremore says, turning down your mic volume on your computer and turning up your gain on your interface can lower the noise floor as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you definitely want to do that if you have a script where you're yelling. But having to turn it up and turn it down all the time is going to, I think, be tedious and tiresome. I would like to have all my settings, and this is what I strove to do in the very beginning, was to have all my settings dialed in so I could do whatever I needed to do and not have to keep messing with all the dials. Because, as you know, if you have a lot of equipment with a lot of different settings, sometimes they don't play well all the time. So I like everything is set like it's supposed to be. So it's like, don't touch anything, and then mark on the equipment where all your knobs should be. So if anything gets knocked out of place, you know exactly where it was supposed to be. But I don't like to touch anything because it's like anything is off, then everything is just sounds all wrong. But you totally can. Where did I go? Sarah Wright says, I sent a sample to my boyfriend and he recommended looking up speaking and breathing techniques, but I don't know what is good enough. Self-critique is hard. Yeah, totally. Join a Facebook group. You can join mine if you want. I have a Facebook group called the VO Workshop, and everybody there is just fabulous. We've got about 570 something members now. So there's a lot of people in there that can give you some feedback on your demos. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of people in here today. Okay, guys, hang on. I'm trying to get to you here. Okay. Masonry Construction is here. Hello, good morning. Thanks to the group for the heads up on Wave sale a couple of weeks ago. I bought Clarity and NS1 for a total of $65. That's a great deal. And then they threw in a debreather for free. Thanks again, Coach Gary M. Yeah, Clarity and NS1 are pretty good. Clarity, from my experience with Clarity so far, it's good for shorter pieces of audio, not so much audiobooks yet, but Clarity would be good for shorter VO if you have a noisy room for sure. But that's a great deal. Sewern Lavecchia? I hope I'm not butchering that. Hi, Angela. Hello. I have a question. When you narrate an audiobook, do images or visuals of the book come to your imagination while narrating? Absolutely they do, especially with character work, because I have like archetypes in my head for a specific type of character, and then I just pull on that voice that I've already established for that character in my head to use in certain situations. So, and then even if you have something new, like a character that you've never voiced before, you could always Google an image of that character, with the attributes that you're looking at. And having a visual of that character will help you find the voice as well. But absolutely, and it definitely helps if that happens because you yourself get into the story and into the setting, and it helps you to deliver that, beautifully into the narration, so the listener also can be right there with you in that setting or that scene, right? So yeah, I do a lot. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Sarah Wright says, I was using a Rode NT1A. That's a good mic. It's a good mic. Voiceover Klaus Kusaro says, when you have a bad energy day, do you make a pause or do you act as your chair says, fire and blood and pull through? Yeah, I have a, am I doing this the right way? Yeah. I have a House Targaryen chair. You know, when you're just not feeling it, I maybe do a half day and then go do something that's going to lift my spirits. Because you don't want to convey that into the voiceover that you're doing, your bad energy. If you have a bad energy day, if it's not something that you just can't get out of, then you probably want to go take a walk and again do something that's going to make you happy and then come back to the studio when you're feeling it. Because if you're happy, that's going to come through in your voiceovers or your recordings. The same thing with bad energy. It's going to come through unless you're a really, really, really good actor. But I guess it really just depends on what you're doing. If it's something that's maybe a little bit morose and, you know, maybe you could, but I wouldn't. I would just take a little bit of time to get my head right, I think. At Home with Tom and Rhonda Howard says, what do you think about the Sennheiser Mke 600 for voiceover? You know, I'm not sure about that one. I don't have a lot of experience with microphones, a ton of different. I'm one of those people that if I find something I like, I stick with it. As much as I want to just go and get new gear and new microphones and have several in my collection, I just can't see opening up my wallet for something that I already have, right? Because I think I've only had 3 microphones in my 4 years of doing this, and my Sennheiser's been with me for a good portion of that, maybe 2.5 years, maybe more, maybe 3 now. I've had it for a while, and I haven't used that one, but I've heard great things about that microphone. Let me just take a look at that one really quick because now you've got me curious. Mke 600, I believe. Oh, is it a shotgun? Let me see. Oh, it is a shotgun. I'm not sure what the difference is between the two. They're both shotguns. I think they look pretty much the same. I'm not sure what the internals are or what the difference would be. You know who does great microphone comparisons is Booth Junkie here on YouTube. Check out Booth Junkie, his channel. He might even have a comparison where he gives his opinion about that particular microphone and dozens of others. So that's a great place to go for insight and input on different microphones. But I have never used that one, so I don't really know for sure. Robert Palmore says, normalizing is bringing down the highs and up the lows so the variation isn't so much. Absolutely. JCCAOL says, Sue Vern Lavecchia, sometimes when I read fiction, I do envision an image, and it does help me to get into character and intonation. With nonfiction, this does not really apply. Yeah, I guess it really would depend on what you're reading, too. If you're reading something about backyard homesteading or something like that, then it might help to help describe what it is that you're doing if that's what you're reading. But I tend to do that with everything that I'm reading, that I'm narrating. I visualize everything. Maybe that's just me, but typically I do. Lost my place again. Patricia Kohler is here. Hello, from a different state than usual. Figured I'd check in on vacation. Well, enjoy your vacation. Good God. I won't get many of those anymore. Melissa Barton Briggs is here. Hello. How do you determine your rate sheet when you started, specifically with sites like Fiverr and Upwork, trying to figure out how much to charge for 50 words? Oops, hit send by mistake. Trying to figure out how much to charge for different word counts seems tough to someone not used to this business. Thanks so much for your videos and these live sessions. They are so helpful. Well, I'm glad that they are. Rate cards are really difficult in the beginning. Before I actually had a rate card, I would just take a look at what everybody else was offering on Fiverr, Upwork, wherever you are, and try to determine a price that's similar, right? But if you want to make an actual rate card after I was already established Anthony Pica, on his website, avosjourney.com, he has a rate guide that he's got written out there on a page that's broken into different categories: beginner, intermediate, and expert, for just about every single type of voiceover. So definitely go check that out and see if you can make a rate card for yourself based on those figures. And they're broken into, I believe, by minute, by hour, and by word. I think he also breaks them out that way too. Again, that's avosjourney.com, and then he has a rate card tab on his website. Check that out. It'll be very helpful for you. Junior, hello. Hey, Angela. I recently got a new XLR microphone, and the microphone is able to pick up the fan coming from my laptop. Is there a way that I can make adjustments to hear no fan, or should I get a new laptop? I had the exact same problem. And I tried, I started with my laptop here in my room with me, and then same thing, fan noise. And then I decided to put the laptop outside of my room. I just got some extra long cables for an external monitor, right? And Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and then moved my laptop outside of my recording area. But then I got worried about people stepping on it. So then I bought one of those little mini towers, like a little mini computer. It was great and it worked for a long time. But then I got to the point where I'm doing a lot of video, a lot of multitasking, and the poor thing just could not keep up. But it was also great, small, outside and away from my microphone. So that's when I had my PC built. But this puppy is big, but it sits outside of my recording space because it's loud. So I think that would be an easy and relatively fast fix for you if you just got longer cables and moved and an external monitor and Bluetooth or wireless keyboard and mouse, and moved your laptop outside of your recording space. That will help you to reduce that fan noise. If it's further away from your microphone, then that'll help reduce that right away. But you don't need a new laptop. You just need to move it away from your mic or anything that's making noise, right? Musical Neptunian says, there is also a VO group on Reddit if you don't like Facebook. Yeah, there's tons of great information on Reddit too, and YouTube, just about, well, yeah. And also TikTok. I know I bring up TikTok a lot because I'm a TikTok nerd, but there's a lot of my friends and big VO community presence on TikTok if you want to network and make friends that way too. Junior 17 says, can voiceover be taught? I've seen some videos here on YouTube by a lady named Nancy Wolfson teaching people how to narrate stuff. Voiceover absolutely can be taught. I think it's not so much of what your voice sounds like. It's more of how you deliver the intent of the script or whatever it is that you're reading. If you can become the character, if you can act, if you can deliver the proper intonation and intent of the script to the proper audience and make the client happy. It's more about the delivery and your personality coming through in that delivery too. So to sum up, it's not necessarily your voice, it's more of how you deliver the voiceover. So it can definitely be taught. I think most anything can be taught, but it's going to probably take time and effort and, just like learning anything else that's new. And some people pick it up faster than others, some people get really busy and successful in this business very, very quickly, and some take a couple of years. So again, don't be too hard on yourself. It doesn't happen right away, but it is something that can be learned if you're willing to put in the time and effort and seek coaching, of course, to learn, or a good mentor. Sarah Wright says, thank you, Angela. You're welcome, Sarah. Okay, let's pop up over to the poll really quick. Oh, 31 votes. Okay, so the poll question was, which do you use to monitor or edit your recordings? 55% of you say headphones only. 3% of you say monitors or speakers only. And 42% of you say headphones and monitors or speakers. I'm in that bottom one as well, with headphones and monitors or speakers. I think listening back to what you're doing with two different sounds. Oh, hang on, my computer's sending me a notification. What was I just saying? My train just derailed. Some people also use headphones to live monitor while they're recording to see if there's anything that shouldn't be there pop up, or to listen to themselves as they narrate. So that's another use for headphones. But mainly, I listen to what I'm editing on headphones. If it's an audiobook or something that I really want to take a close listen to, I use my monitors in here if there is something that is going to be played over TV, radio, car speakers, more than likely, because it does change the sound a little bit. So I want to hear what the final product would sound like on speakers versus my, my noise canceling headphones. So there is a use for both, and I use both. But mainly my headphones most of the time, because I do a lot of audiobooks and a lot of things that I really want to hear what I'm doing. Maybe because I'm just neurotic about what I'm doing still. Imposter syndrome, right? Monster says, saving channel strip presets for loud, quieter types like audiobook or acting. Yeah, if you have the ability to save presets like that for your channel strip, then yeah, absolutely. You also can have, if you have Adobe Audition, you can save different presets for different types of voiceover too. For example, in Adobe Audition, in your rack, there's already a ton of preset rack presets that are already in there. But then you can custom make your own and save them for use for example, I have one for normal voiceover. I have one for audiobooks. I have a preset for meditation, because that's, I'm a little bit closer to the mic. And then there's one for affirmations that has a slight little bit of like an echo effect to it. So there's tons of different presets you can set in Adobe Audition if that's what you're using. And if your channel strip, again, has the ability to do that, then that's awesome. Anything that you can do to save a little bit of time is going to be advantageous for you. Furlan's Cryptopia. That's a cool name. Hey, Angela, how can an author view the progress of an audiobook on ACX? As a narrator, I can see it, but they can't. How can an author view the progress of an audiobook on ACX? As a narrator, I can see it, but they can't. I think as you're uploading, see, this is where I'm a little bit confused, because my initial understanding on ACX is that as you're uploading files, the author can't review them until you say, I'm done. But I had someone that I work with tell me that they were uploading files to ACX and the author was able to review them as they had uploaded them. For example, like they would narrate, edit, finish one chapter, upload it, move on to the next chapter. So they were kind of uploading chapters as they finished them. And the author was able to review them as they went. But was my understanding that they couldn't see anything that you're doing until you clicked I'm done. So I'm not exactly sure which is true if you're asking that same question. If you're uploading files and you can see them, but they can't, I'm not exactly sure, because I've been told otherwise. So, but I guess if they can't see it, then if you hit I'm done, then maybe that puts that into a place where they can see them. Maybe they can see them at that point, but then they would have to re-unlock it for you to continue uploading the remainder of the chapter. So I'm not exactly sure, because I've heard now conflicting information, so I'm not exactly sure. I haven't submitted a book on ACX in a very long time. Most of my audiobooks come from Fiverr and Upwork and Direct Contact now. Okay, coffee. At home with Tom and Rhonda Howard. I have a Rode NT1000 condenser mic I am using now. I've never had any issues with my Rode. I had, before my Sennheiser, I had a Rode NT1. I think it was just an NT1. And that was a great mic. Low self-noise. They're great condenser mics for sure. But I'm not too sure about that Sennheiser, but definitely where I would go if I'm looking for a new mic would be to Booth Junkie's channel and look for the mic that I'm looking for and see what his take is on it. And then hear it, because he actually flips between the two as he's doing his video, so you can hear the difference between the two mics. Very helpful. Monster says, room treatment makes a bigger difference than mics once you have a decent mic. Yeah, Rode is totally fine. Room treatment is going to be your number one factor in creating your space and in recording voiceover and audiobooks, for sure. Because you can have the most expensive mic out there. You could have a Neumann, U87 or something, but it's just going to make your bad sounding room sound even worse, right? So treating your room is going to be your most important thing in your space, for sure. Not so much your mic. Your space is more important. Oh my goodness, I just totally lost my spot. Daryl Hansen. Hi, Angela. I use Audacity and have Audio-Technica 2020 mic. What do you think of these? There's a lot of people that use these. I mean, Audacity is free and there's nothing wrong with free. If you're wanting to do this for a while, I think getting into a different DAW might be beneficial. Just because for me, I felt, here's what it came down to. When I was using Audacity to start, and then I discovered Adobe Audition, if I felt like I was trying to do my voiceover, like looking through a straw. What I could see and do felt limited to me once I discovered Adobe Audition. And I'm sure the same is true for, Reaper or any of the others that are out there. Audacity is great, don't get me wrong. And there's still a lot of people that I know that still have used it all of this time, but it really comes down to preference. But for me, Adobe Audition just made a lot more sense because I was still able to see and do a whole lot more than I was in Audacity. So, do what you're most comfortable with. I know Adobe Audition is what, $21, $22 a month or something for Adobe Audition. And it's, but you have to spend money to make money, unfortunately. I have found. But the mic is totally fine. I know a lot of narrators who use that mic day in and day out. So I think that's a great combination to start with. Score More says, if the PC noise continues, I use a OTG cables with 5-volt UUB powered hub connected to my smartphones. The iPhone or iPad is great as well with GarageBand. Yeah, I'm not too sure what you mean by that. I mean, as far as like feedback noise from your PC. For me, for getting rid of just noise in general, my PC is outside of my room. And I also upgraded all of my cables to balanced cables. That helps to reduce some of the feedback, the electric feedback that's within the cables, just to put it simply. There's a few things that you could do to reduce noise into your audio tracks for sure. But if PC fan noise is an issue for you, then try to move that puppy as far away from your mic as you can, outside of your room if you can. That will help you pretty much immediately. Oh my gosh, you guys are running out of time. Okay, let's see if I can get these. SL Albert voiceover talent. That's how I just did an audiobook, a few chapters at a time. Yeah. And there's voice actors that do it both ways. Like for me, well, most of what I do is not on ACX anyway, but I'll just complete the book and then send the client all of the chapters, and then they can review it and let me know if there's any revisions or anything. And then some other ones, they upload as they go, whichever way you want to do it. I also then message the author to say, hey, I uploaded 1 through 3. Please take a look and let me know about changes. Yeah, that's a good practice to have too. That way, if you're waiting on their feedback on those first 3 chapters too, then that would help you going forward if there was something that you needed to change, for sure. But, waiting on the author, that typically takes a little bit more time, and I guess it would depend on how much time the author has given you overall to finish the audiobook. But for me, I'm usually juggling a couple of books at a time, so I don't have the time to wait for each chapter to be reviewed, unfortunately. I wish that I did sometimes. I lost my spot. Furlon's Cryptopia says, thank you for your response. Thank you for your question. Smite Knight. Oop, lost you. Hey there, loved all your videos, really helped me get started in ACX. Question, I've got slight audio feedback hiss, nothing that can't be fixed in post, but definitely wonder why it's there. If you have audio feedback hiss, it might be a cable, your interface, or something is awry somewhere. Something is not either grounded or you've unbalanced. I would check your cables, check your interface. Usually unplugging and replugging usually fixes that sort of thing, but it could be something technical or something equipment related that could be doing that. Or even if your settings in your DAW don't match your interface settings, meaning your sample rate, those types of things, that could also be an issue. Those are the worst because it could really be any of those variables or a combination of variables that could be causing that feedback hiss. But best of luck to you for finding that. I hope you can find it. At home with Tom and Rhonda Howard, I have a Scarlett 2i2, but I came across the Moto M2 and it has an on-off button. I think I like it better overall. I wonder why I have not heard more about it. It seems to be a better interface. I've heard a lot of good things about that particular interface for sure. I have heard the Scarlett 2i2s are, sorry, Focusrite, but they are hit or miss in terms of having popping, hissing noises at some point, like towards the end of their life. They start to do that. That is the only negative thing that I've heard about Scarlett 2i2s. But Moto I've heard good things about too. I don't personally use it. I actually have a Focusrite Claret interface right now. So obviously I use Focusrite and haven't had an issue with this one at all. But I have, to answer your question, I have heard really great things about Moto also. I've never personally used it, but I've heard great things about it. Okay. Monster says, who would you recommend for character acting voice coaching? I know Anthony does. I'm part of a VO's journey, but looking for some variety. Acting voice coaching. Oh, I just had a couple names pop into my head, but now they're gone. I wonder if you can look up the coaches that were just at VO Atlanta. I would look up any upcoming conference and see if there are voice actors that are also coaches attending, because they'll typically have contact information for them. God, I can't think of any of their names, but there are a lot of them. I'm thinking mostly female, but I know there are some males too. Man, of course you asked me the stumper. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Monster. Or you could probably just take a look around on Google and totally beat me. But I can't think of any at the top of my head, of course. It's like deer in the headlights. Melissa Barton Briggs says, thanks for that information. I'll check out Anthony's website for rate card guide. Yeah, Anthony's got a great rate card on his website. Furlan's Cryptopia says, yeah, that was the same way I felt when I moved to Adobe Audition. It was way smoother. Yeah. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with Audacity, but once I got to Adobe Audition, it felt like I was trying to do voiceover editing and recording processing, looking at it through a straw. There's just so much more you can do on Audition. I lost my place again. Oh, here we go. Robert Palmore says, Waves VX is amazing for noise reduction. Check out the YouTube reviews. VX, is that the Clarity VX or is that something else? Waves VX? Waves VX. I'll have to take a look at that one. Thank you for that. Musical Neptunian says, Audacity is okay if you are happy with a destructive DAW. Reaper as a non-destructive DAW saves me oceans of time and effort. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not horrible for a free DAW. I mean, Audacity is fabulous for being free. But if you want to do this for a while, you might want to consider investing in another type of DAW. One that you unfortunately have to pay for, but I think you'll be much happier with the end result. And maybe some less frustration and more features and usability. than Audition can offer you. Not Audition, Audacity, excuse me. Scoremore says iPad makes it portable. Yeah, I don't know anybody that records using their iPad. But I can understand, I can visualize what you're saying. That's very interesting. But I've always used a PC. I don't know anybody that uses an iPad to do that. But I've heard it brought up before too. Excuse me. Daryl Hansen says, thank you for all your information and taking the time. I have such a desire to do anything where I can change my voice. I just want an opportunity. Everything is so new, but my desire is huge. Desire and passion will take you so much further in any new endeavor than anything else. Because if you're looking at it to make money, then you might not get very far, because that desire might wane and you might be looking for something else that's going to be maybe easier, faster, more money. But if you have the passion for this, that'll take you a long, long way. Junior says, thanks for the advice, Angela. You're welcome, Junior. Donnie Lansdale is here. Hello. I've had great results with Twisted Wave and Blue Yeti. Yeah, I started out with a Blue Yeti, and it was a great microphone for narrating audiobooks. And I think shortly after, when I really got the bug for audiobook narration, that's when I upgraded to the Rode NT1. And then once I started to make more money, I upgraded to my Sennheiser. And I've been very, very happy with it. But the Blue Yeti is great. And I think with the newer iterations of it, they're even better. The USB mics have come a long, long way. The Simpleton Review says, I use AT2020, great mic for the price point. The only catch is highly sensitive. You have to be really careful with your room space. Yeah, I would imagine, especially if it's very, very sensitive, you probably also have to be very cognizant of your mic placement as well, because you don't want to be yelling and have it too close to you and just blow the audio out. But I've heard I know a lot of people that use that microphone and have been very happy with it. Scoremore says, you all need to look into the XM8500. It's great. Watch the Versus series between that and the 7B. Is that on Booth Junkie, Scoremore? Where is that comparison at, the Versus series? Is it on YouTube? I'm going to write that one down too. XM8500. And the 7B, that's the Shure 7B, I'm thinking, right? At Home with Tom and Rhonda Howard says, you are very patient and kind with your responses. Thank you for the live. And I usually take a lot more time answering the questions. There's just a ton of questions today, and I'm usually only here for an hour and we're running out of time. So I'm glad that you're finding them helpful, even though I'm kind of speeding through them. So thank you. Robert Palmore says, my Scarlett 2i2 3rd Gen is popping to the point it's almost unusable. Yeah. And I've heard that, and it's unfortunate, but that's pretty consistent across all of the generations, the 2i2s, and maybe not so much the Solo. Maybe, I don't know if anybody's even buying the Solo as much as the 2i2, but I've heard that a lot of the 2i2, but it's usually hit or miss. It might be time for a new one, unfortunately. Scoremore says, Funny Guy Timmy does cartoon and game voice training, $100 per hour. Funny Guy Timmy. Thank you for that, Scoremore. I'm going to write that one down. Funny. I want to say I've heard that before. Someone else had said that. That sounds familiar. But my memory is just absolute garbage anymore. Funny Guy Timmy. You hear that, guys? Funny Guy Timmy. We'll have to go check him out. He has a YouTube channel. Oh, perfect. Perfect. That makes it easy. All right, I'm going to go check him out. Thank you for that. JCCAOL says, at Monster, if you can reach out to Anna Brisbane, Brizzy Voices, she may know some leads for coaching. Oh, Brizzy Voices. You guys rock. Thank you all for being so helpful and supportive, not only to me, but to each other. We need more of that, keep that going. Smite Knight says, have you done any video game or animation VO work? I have. Nothing that's been like a crazy character. Most of the game work that I have done, I've been myself. I'm trying to think of, I was an NPC. I've also been, oh, you know what I do most of is like an AI computer voice, like in a starship where they have like the mother computer voice, or um, what was that other video that I did? Yeah, mostly AI voice or just myself. Nothing too crazy, like Bart Simpson or anything like that. But yes, I have, and it's tons of fun. Monster says, thanks, Angela. No worries. That was a helpful place to start. Good. I'm glad. Score More says YouTube. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to check those out. Jody Leon says, first time viewer. Thanks for popping in. Just found your YouTube last week and love your content. Do you do vocal exercises? And how do you keep your voice from feeling strained, or have any recommendations? Vocal, yes, you do warm ups when you first get into your studio before you start recording. You should do vocal warm ups, trills with your tongue, your lips, stretch your face. You can do a whole body warm up if you want to. I was just going to say something. Oh, you know what? I have this great book, if you guys, and I think it's been recommended here on my live before, and I have since purchased it. If you have not seen this book, I don't know if you can see it okay. VoiceOver Voice Actor, the second edition Spectacular, written by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. It's on Amazon. This is a great book, and it has a lot of great vocal warm-ups in it, what to do before your audition, studio setup space, practice exercises. It's got a lot of great information in it, so I highly recommend this book if you're just starting out. Yep, you can actually see the cover. Great. Just making sure that you guys can see it. But I recommend that book. It's a great book. How do you keep your voice from feeling strained? Take breaks. Take lots of breaks, especially if you're doing a character voice that's really like tough on your voice. Take lots of breaks. Hot tea with lemon. There's the throat coat tea, which is great. I'm not a big fan of black licorice because it has the anise type of, but it's great for your throat. Some people have said whiskey. I don't know about that. But there's, anything warm in your throat, honey, lemon, all of those things, and lots of breaks, lots of water. You do want to give yourself time to heal your instrument if it's feeling strained, for sure. Take a break. Smite Night, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Very, very nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Furlan's Cryptopia says, when recording an audiobook, do you edit as you go or wait until you complete it and then go back and edit it? I edit as I go because I burned myself after completing a chapter without editing as I went. I typically record an entire chapter, save it as its raw form, and then I edit it. And then I do all of the final processing, like normalizing and all that stuff, and then save it as an MP3. So then I have two different files, one to go back to if I have to do revisions that's unprocessed, and then I have the final one. So, and I typically will finish recording before I edit, so everything is there. So then I can just move on to the next one when it's done. I don't edit as I go within the same file, but I do edit as I go from file to file, if that makes sense. So like I finish reading one and then I edit it and then I go to the next one, or I'll just narrate a bunch of chapters and then edit, go back and edit. And again, I live in Arizona, so in the summertime, the air conditioner's on 90% of the time. So if I have a window where I can narrate, I'm going to narrate while I can and then edit, go back and edit while the air conditioner's on. So again, it just depends on what your process is and what's better for you. But if that works, then that's awesome. Okay, so we're running out of time here, guys. I'm going to get these last few questions. Mike Russell says, do you recommend dry reads for demos? Dry reads, meaning with no processing? Is that what you mean for demos, for no processing? I think if that's what you mean, I think for demos, you want to give the client an idea of what their final product is going to sound like. And so with that question usually comes, do I add music? Well, I have demos that are both ways. I have like the same exact demo with music and without music. I think it depends on the application or where it's going or who you're sending it to and for what purpose. Maybe I'll send them both so they can hear, but I think giving the client a demo that's going to have all the same processing, if you have like a common processing rack, to reduce noise or to give yourself a little EQ, I think adding that is not a bad idea at all for your demos. Lost my place again. JCCAOL says, oh my God, that's the book I mentioned to you. You are so awesome. Yes, I think that was you that mentioned that book. Thank you so much for recommending that book. I bought it. I wrote it down, I bought it, and I've been flipping through it. There's some really great information in there. So thank you for recommending that. And I do recommend it for everybody else. So check it out. Thank you for that. Tiffy Pop says, hi, Angela, newbie here. Welcome, welcome. How does a person know their voice is good voice to do voiceover? I hope that's not a weird question. I don't know if my voice would be good. Tiffy, I don't have to hear you to know that your voice would do just fine. Because as voice actors, we represent the world. We represent every voice, every age, every gender, every, race. Everybody in the world has a voice, and we represent them all. So again, it comes down to not what your voice sounds like, but it comes down to how well you deliver the script, right? If you can act, if you can emote, if you can, intonation, and all of that stuff needs to be well delivered by you as an actor. And you do need to know how to act. It would be helpful. So it doesn't really matter what your voice sounds like. If you can deliver a script, you'll be good. Lost my place again. Smite Knight says, you've mentioned in some of your videos that you've struggled with accents. Any advice on how to improve? I do struggle with accents. My brain, I can hear it in my head, but my mouth is just saying, I can't get the two to work together. It's so irritating. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on different aspects of different accents. You could reach out to a dialect coach, which I think I'm going to do at some point to learn accents properly, I think is what I'm going to have to do. And I would recommend the same for you. If you struggle with accents, you should probably reach out to a coach who can do these things, a vocal coach, dialect coach, someone that specializes in different accents, and have them work with you on it. I think I'm going to have to do that too. Kai Valerie says, would you mind showing the book again? Oh, no, not at all. It's called VoiceOver Voice Actor. And I can't see if you guys can see this okay, but it's the second edition, Spectacular, Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. Actually, I'm going to link this book after this live. I'll link this book on my website. If you go to voiceoverangela.com, in my VO gear section is where I have all of the recommended equipment for you if you're just getting started out in voiceover. And I'll link this book there too, along with a few other books that I recommend for voiceover. So this is a good one. Okay, last few questions here before my camera overheats and shuts off. Mike Russell says yes or no music. Yeah, okay, good. Furlan's Cryptopia says, yes, that makes sense, thank you. And by editing, I mean, I just cut out the mistakes and lower the heavy breaths. Oh, okay. But I don't fully process it until after I've completed the chapter. I've done that too. Like if I'm in the middle of a chapter and the air conditioner kicks on, I have to stop narrating, of course, right? So I'll go back and edit the chapter that I've already done. I'll remove the mistakes and breaths, but I won't process it. Yes, I see what you mean. I do the same thing. Filmmaker Klaus Kusero says, thank you for your time. All the best from snowy Germany. I bet you that's beautiful. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for sharing that image with me. I love it. Mike Russell says, do you have a recommendation for the type of demo reads? I would totally just use all different types. For example, I would have a IVR demo, like a telephony, like a phone tree type of a demo. I would have a e-learning demo. I would have an audiobook demo. I would have a commercial read demo, and different styles. Maybe one that's a little bit more luxurious and intimate. Another one that's a little bit more upbeat and bubbly. Different types or personality tones of reads. And then have all of those available for different types of auditions that you're going to send. Not auditions, but to clients if they're asking for a specific type of read. I need to slow down. And then also take a piece of each of those and make it like a whole reel for like a commercial reel, like a demo reel that's got a little bit of everything in it. Same with audiobooks. You could have an audiobook demo that's just horror. You can have an audiobook demo that's just romance, and then have a compilation demo that's got a little bit of each in it. You could do it whichever way you want to. I have found all of those to be useful for all different, specific types of requests from clients. If they're looking for a specific type of sound or genre or type, I have that demo for them. So I like to be prepared that way. Daryl Hansen says, do you say he said or she said if you change your voice of the character and know who it is? Yes. So if you're saying like Bruno said, I always say that in the narrator voice. If it's male or female, if it's the narrator saying he said, she shrugged, she sighed, he left, he smiled, I would always read those in the narrator voice. I think that's what you're asking. I hope that's what you're asking. I hope I answered that correctly. Kai Valerie says, thank you. You're welcome. Okay, last couple questions. Score More says, thanks for the help you provided to everyone. Please rest your voice a bit. I know I'm going like super fast, and I still have 2 audiobooks that I need to get to today. Daryl Hansen says, thank you very, very much. You're welcome very, very much. And Mike Russell says, awesome, thanks. You guys are all very, very welcome. All right, let's hit that poll one last time, and then we'll sign off for today, and I'll see you guys all next week. But let me go here. Which do you use to monitor or edit your recordings? 42 votes. Thanks for everybody for voting. 57% of you say headphones only. 7% say monitors or speakers only. And 36% of you say headphones and monitors or speakers. That's interesting. I thought it would have been more headphones and monitors, but I guess that's just what I'm used to. So that's what I think. But headphones only too works also. So interesting. Thank you for everybody who has participated in the poll and participated in the chat and had questions. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to like this video, because the more you interact and like, you tell YouTube that I'm doing something good, and they'll show it to other people looking for this kind of information. So I appreciate that. Thank you again for everybody for stopping by. And we just check and see if there are any final questions. Let me see here. He said, she said, Scott Brick suggestions, say them quickly like a throwaway line. Yeah, you don't want it to be too distracting. You want to just, yeah, Scott Brick is a god when it comes to audiobook narration. Thank you for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, guys, I am running away before my camera turns off on me because it has done it before. All right, guys, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.